Maybe. Maybe not. Are we good? So we have nickel, right? I think I wrote nickel. And we're good. All right, it has what Roman numeral? So we had a 4 at the top. Oxygen has what oxidation number? -2. So the 2 is coming down. The 4 is coming down. And so we have Ni2O4. Now, in math class, when you have numbers that are a 2 and a 4, what could you do to a 2 and a 4? You have to do that in science class too. So if they could both be divided by 2, you have to divide them by 2. So Ni will reduce to a 1, and the 4 will reduce to a 2. So Ni with a 1, O with a 2. So your answer should be that. Now, this is the only thing I will give you partial credit on. If you forget to reduce, I will, like on the quiz tomorrow, I'll give you half so you don't lose 5. On the test, it looks like the test is going to fall about Friday, possibly Thursday, but Thursday or Friday. It's a 2-point question, so I'd take off 1. Okay? But that's the only thing I give partial credit on is forgetting to reduce. All right, number 5. Manganese. What's the symbol for manganese? Mn. And the Roman numeral is a 5, so we know the oxidation number is a 5. What's cyanide? Cn. What's its oxidation number? 1. So parentheses, 1 comes down, 5 comes down. All right, so I'm going to get rid of that 1 because Ms. Paul never writes the ones. Now, questions. Did everybody put the parentheses in? Okay, because remember, you can only leave the parentheses off if the number outside is a what? A 1. And the number outside of the parentheses is a 5. Now, the reason for that is we're going to do some math with this probably towards the end of class tomorrow. If I ask you how many C's there are, how many C's are there? Remember what parentheses mean in math class. What do parentheses mean? Multiply and distribute. So there's how many C's and how many N's. But if you wrote the formula this way, how many C's would there be? There'd only be 1, and your mass would be vastly different. So that's why it's important that you make sure you write those parentheses in. All right. Now, in a question like up here on number 3, where I have this, does it matter if I write it this way or that way? No, because the number outside the parentheses is a what? A 1. They're optional. But if it's that, is it optional to leave the parentheses off? No. You see the difference? Okay. So the last one's an easy one. Barium is Ba. Its oxidation number is a. It's a what? Bromide is a. And its oxidation number is a. So we're going to bring a 1 down and a 2 down, and we get Ba, Br with a 2. Questions about how to do that? No? No? Okay. Anybody have a question on the opening? Can we talk homework? Yeah. Okay. Cameron, you should be excited today. It's 10 minutes shorter. Huh? I said you should be excited today. It's 10 minutes shorter. All right, Kayla, do you have the blue oxidation sheet? Did I give you that before you were out? Yes, no.
Wait till tomorrow.
I think the only thing you missed is the pink sheet construction.
Are you okay?
Now, I mean, my handwriting's not all that stellar. But instead of me having to repeat myself 800 times. All right.
Do we have triple parentheses around this before?
No, you do not. All right, which is why that other blue one's written, because somebody else said that one's okay too. All right, remember, with the number outside the parentheses is the one, they're optional.
This one, would you take plates off if we put ions at the end?
Yes, I marked it completely wrong. An answer to that question, yes. So would you put ion on the end for?
Can I slide it down?
So, I mean, did you just slap ion on the end of something?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's an ion on the blue sheet. Okay? But as soon as you take it off the blue sheet and put it together to make a compound, it's no longer an ion.
Okay.
All right, any questions on 1 through 10?
Wait, were we on?
No, I'm going to put the others up there. I just have it blown up so you can't get them all up there. So there are questions on writing the formulas on 1 through 10. So we feel good about 1 through 10. So that part of the quiz we'll do well on.
Yes.
All right. So in writing the names, and this is not quite as neat because I don't really write for y'all. There's 11 through 20. Fortunately, this is one I have the answers written on because some of them are blind. All right, what questions on those? Any questions, concerns, things we got wrong, things we want to ask? So we feel completely comfortable with these. Anybody? Yay, nay? Brandon, question, something? You're sure? You know, they pay me to answer questions. So no one has anything they want to ask me. I've taught it so well that if I was to give the quiz right now, I would only grade hundreds.
Yep.
So I'm not going to be depressed tomorrow when I grade these quizzes.
Yep.
I am going to be. So Cameron, what question do you have for me other than you hate chemistry? That's a comment, not a, and a concern for me, but not a question. You're sure? So what? Number 14? Sure, I can do any of them. They pay me to answer questions. I'm at the top of the pay scale. I'm so good at answering questions. That's really a bunch of horse bookie. I'm only at the top of the pay scale because I've taught a long time.
Oh my God. Mr. Wait, no.
That needs to go. You don't need that. Y'all are not learning about the types of friction. Let me get rid of that. Come on, boy. Okay. You said 14? Okay. All right, so 14 on board. I need to restart this thing. Let's try that again. All right, so what's W's name? Tungsten. Yeah, and old incandescent light bulbs is the filament. It's the piece of metal that breaks. Okay? Cr2O7 is in parentheses, so that's a polyatomic ion, right? So what's its name? It's pronounced dichromate. So tungsten dichromate. And now you just need to decide, does it need a Roman numeral? So look up tungsten. And how many numbers do you see beside tungsten? One. So if it only has one number, do we put a Roman numeral?
No.
So that's it. Tungsten dichromate. And then we're done. Anybody else? Question on anything in the homework? Or do we feel good? We feel good? Passion, you feel good? You and Cameron's boat, you hate chemistry? No? Okay. Do you ever take your head off your hand? Okay. All right, so if you will, find your notes. We're going to talk covalent compounds today. We'll finish naming. Then we're going to do a little more math. Then we're going to take a test. This week? Either Thursday or Friday? Not today, geniuses. When am I going to spring a test on you? Like never. Test always comes with notice. I'm never going to walk in and say, by the way, we have a test today. Now, tests I will do. The quizzes I will do that, not tests. Say what?
Does chemistry prepare you for math, or is it math that prepares you for chemistry? Or is it either or?
Could be either or, but generally I would say math prepares you for chemistry. All right, so we're going to talk about covalent compounds today. Now, this is the topic that usually causes some of us to run off the rails. Not everyone. Some of you who like this and enjoy naming are going to do fine. Those of you who are struggling with naming or don't particularly enjoy what we're doing are going to struggle, okay? Because this is why I told you last Wednesday, I think is when we did it, we had to learn how to tell the two compounds apart. Now, ionic compounds can only be named with the stock system. Okay. Now, ionic can only be named with the stock system. That's what we've been doing. Now, how do you recognize ionic compounds? Anybody remember?
Two capital letters.
All right, 2 capital letters is binary. Okay, so let me clarify that. All right, they did the same thing first period. You're not by yourself. All right, binary means 2 capital letters. So, I ask again, how do we tell if something's ionic?
It's more than 2.
All right, now y'all have headed into polyatomic.
Oh, I know. Less than 2.
Does it have to do something about that?
Yes, Brandon, it does. It's got to have a metal. There we go. All right.
Oh.
So, to be ionic, it has to be a metal and it has to be a non-metal. Okay? To be ionic, it has to have a metal and it has to have a non-metal. Metal and non-metal. Now, whenever I say stock system, you need to remember that stock is your Roman numbers and your oxidation numbers. Because we're going to learn old system today with the prefixes. And some of y'all are going to get excited and be like, hot dog, that's the one I want to use in this law. Get them. I don't want them Roman numerals and oxidation numbers. I want them prefixes. The only problem is prefixes can only be used in a very narrow number of compounds. And some of y'all tomorrow when you come in, the prefixes in half your compounds when we start mixing them up. And then we're going to have a mess. Fortunately, your homework is going to let you use them. But tomorrow when we start mixing them up, y'all are going to start sticking prefixes everywhere, and I'm going to have a meltdown. Okay? Now, here's where the challenge comes in today. Everybody caught up? Okay. Covalent compounds. Can be named using both stock system and old system, which is also referred to as the prefix system. Okay. Covalent compounds can be named using both the stock system and old system. So, how is this different? Stock system again is your Roman numerals and your oxidation numbers. Your old system or your prefixes will not crisscross. So if we're not going to crisscross, we're not going to use any oxidation numbers. So covalent compounds are going to use both stock and old system. Now, did I say we could use old system on ionic compounds? Did I say we could use old system over here on these ionic compounds?
No.
No. Hello, Ms. Glass. What can we do for you today?
Just bring in some fair tickets whenever you like to give them out.
Fabulous.
Thank you.
You are very welcome. So y'all want to go to the fair tonight?
Yeah.
Oh,
She'll be like,
that's tonight.
she gonna be like,
I might let y'all have these fair tickets in a few minutes. All right, so how are you going to recognize then if it is a covalent compound? What? Okay, so how are you going to know if you could use the old system? How did we learn to recognize if it was a covalent compound last week?
if it's both.
There you go. Okay, so covalent has to be all non-metals. And this is why students struggle. They just want to jump in and name them on their worksheets or on their tests. They don't want to check to see what kind of compounds or elements they have in their compounds. But before you start naming with the old system, you have to make sure that you can name them with a prefix. Okay? So we're going to name with the stock system first, and then we'll do old system. Now, because I'm old and I'm forgetful, let me give you these before I forget. If you lose them, it's not my problem. See, there's a good reason to come to chemistry class today. You got a fair check. There you go. Well, there wasn't. I think this might be the first year I actually had a full class on the day I handed them out and had no extras. Normally I have people who are absent. All right. So if we go to write the name for CO2, most of you would go, oh, that's carbon dioxide, Miss Wall. That's not its name in the stock system. That's the old system name. We're naming it in the stock system. Now, we don't have to write down any new rules because y'all already know how to name it in the stock system. But I think it was Friday, I put up an opening question that had some stuff where it was reduced. Here's where the covalent compounds cause issues. You have to see if something's been reduced. Okay? So, what was the first step you did in your homework over the weekend to write us down? You don't remember doing your homework? Name what? So what's the name of the first element? So we're going to write carbon. Okay? Now, what's the name of the second element? Oxygen, and we make it oxide. Now, we're going to add IDE. Why did we add IDE? That's right. We're adding IDE because it's binary. Remember, binary tells us it has two capitals. Everybody with us on those two pieces? Okay. Now, here's the part about the stock system, and this can happen in ionic compounds also, but it happens a whole lot in covalent. Check your oxidation numbers. Use a different color here. Check the second element's oxidation number. Now, we know that its oxidation number on oxygen is a what? -2. Now, if its number is -2, that means what should be right here? A 2. Is there a 2 right there?
No.
When you answer no, that means it was reduced. Okay? Now, in order to put in the Roman numeral, and I'll give you a hint, all covalent compounds will need a Roman numeral. We can look up carbon, and if you look carbon up on your blue sheet, how many oxidation numbers are listed beside carbon? 3. So you're going to need a Roman numeral, okay? But all covalents will have more than one oxidation number listed beside them. That's just a hint if you don't want to have to look them up all the time. So, if there's no number written there, it was reduced. So it had a 2 here, and here's the 2 right there. So it was reduced. We need the original number to put in the Roman numeral. So, how do we get the original number? All we have to do is take that 2 and multiply by 2. So, 2 times 1 is what? So, C2. 2 times 2 is? So, the original formula used to be C2O4. So, what number came from the carbon? So, we put Roman numeral 4. Does that make sense? Okay. Yes, to figure out what the Roman numeral is, you're going to work backwards. No, because sometimes it will not be reduced. So we're going to do some that have and have not been, Angelin. All right, does everybody have what they need?
But the ones that are reduced.
Yes. Yes, most of them will have been reduced by 2. I can't think of any off the top of my head that were not reduced by 2s. All right, so suppose we have something like PI5. All right. So again, what's P? So you write phosphorus. What's I? Iodide. All right, and we added IDE because it's binary, right? Now, how do we decide if it was reduced? Well, what is iodine's oxidation number? -1. What number is right there? So if it's nothing, it's a what? A 1. All right, so it starts as a 1 and it ends as a what? So if it started as a 1 and it's still a 1, was it reduced? No. Okay, so this is one that was not reduced. So if it was not reduced, do I have to multiply or do anything weird to figure out what P is? No, I just have to backwards crisscross. So what number came from the P? The 5. You with me? Yes or no?
Yes.
All right. Can we do one with oxygen to illustrate the difference?
Yeah.
Does everybody have what they want? Okay. Whoops, that's not what I meant to do. So suppose we have AS2O5 and SO3. All right, so what's the name of AS?
Arsenic.
All right, so we write arsenic. All right, what's O?
Oxygen.
All right, and we change it to?
Oxide.
All right, so oxide. All right, we need to decide, was it reduced? Okay, how do we decide that? What do we look up? All right, so oxygen has what oxidation number? Okay, and what number is right there? So it was a 2, and it's still a what? So did the 2 go away? No, the 2 is still there. So was it reduced? No, this is one that was not reduced. So if it was not reduced, we ain't got what? Okay, so what number came from the arsenic? So we write Roman numeral 5. All right, so look at SO3. Is it different? All right, let's try naming it. What's S? Sulfur. All right, what's O? All right. And after you do oxide, you got to figure out, was it reduced? So what's oxygen's oxidation number? So it should be right here. Is it right there? So was it reduced? So this is one that was reduced. Do you see the difference between the way this formula is written and that formula is written? Okay. So if this one is reduced, we need the original formula. So what I tell you to do to get the original, take this 2 and multiply it through. So S2O6. So what number came from the sulfur? 6. Questions? You okay with that? Think you can try a couple? Okay. Let's do SiO2. Let's do CBr4. Let's do N2O5 and CO. Do those 4. Write their names in stock system. Then we're going to talk old system. All right, how many of us still need more time? Because I'm sick of trying to enter these corrects. We done? All right, so who wants to tell me about SiO2? Very good, excellent. Anybody not get silicon for oxide? Is that a yes on all fronts? Who didn't get it? Oh, they're quiet people on that. Cameron, did you get it? Okay. How about CBr4? Sheena?
Carbon 4 bromide.
Good. Anybody not get carbon 4 bromide? Why don't you have Roman numeral there? How many numbers are beside carbon? So you gotta have a Roman number. Okay, so what number came from carbon in that formula? In that formula, what number came from the carbon?
4.
Yep, so that 4 crisscross, so that's what you gotta put there. All right, how about number 3? Passion. Okay, I know I told you I'm old. A little more volume. Okay, anybody not get nitrogen 5 oxide? Everybody good with that? Alexis, what'd you get?
Nitrogen 5 oxide.
Okay, so everybody's on the same page? All right, and the last one. What'd you get for that one? A name. Anybody not get carbon 2 oxide? So everybody feels pretty comfortable with those?
Yeah, if you ask a question right there, because it
Okay.
doesn't, like, carbon doesn't have a 2 on here.
Doesn't matter.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so remember, those are just common oxidation numbers. It's not the holy grail. Okay, so sometimes I'll put numbers up that are not on that sheet. So just use what's in the formula, even if they're not on that sheet.
So they're always going to have a Roman numeral?
All the covalent ones will have a Roman numeral, yes.
So, even though it's not on here, it's this big. No.
Yes, yes. So I think manganese, I don't know if I have a 5 beside manganese. Manganese, yeah, I got a 5 there. But sometimes they'll have weird ones that can be on there. Yes, that's fine. Yes. I know some of the ones that you'll see in the homework tonight will not be on that sheet, and that's okay. Yeah, but carbon can be a 2. Was that the only question? All right, let's talk old system. All right, old system, most people think is really easy to use, and that's why they like to use old system. All right, old system is often called the prefix system. All right, step number 1. Name the first element. Now, we will add a prefix if, okay, only if a subscript of 2 or more. Okay, so we're going to name the first element and we will add a prefix if the subscript is 2 or more on that first element. But if it's not 2 or more, are we going to add a prefix? No. Number 2. You're going to name the second element. You're going to add an IDE ending. Now, why are we going to add an IDE ending? It's going to be binary. Everything y'all are going to learn to name right now is going to be binary. Unfortunately, we're not going to have time to do acids or any of the other stuff that's organic, so it'll be binary. And the last step is you must add a prefix. Okay? You must add a prefix. You don't have an option. So the first step, you add a prefix only if there's what? 2 or more. So we'll decide if we need a prefix. But the second element is always going to get a prefix. Okay? So before we go any further, catch up, and then we need to talk about the prefixes. We're only going to use 1 through 10 because this is a first-year class. You have to know 1 through 10 by Wednesday when we take the quiz on covalent naming. And before you all freak out and go, oh my God, Miss Law. 1 through 10 is not hard. I'd be willing to bet you most of you could do 7 or 8 of the 10. All right. Does everybody have what they need?
Yeah.
Okay. So. All right. Mono, di, tri, tetra, penta, hexa, hepta, nona, and deca. Now, out of those 10, a lot of you know them from probably Spanish class, math class, geometry kind of shapes. These are not new things you guys have never seen before. Tetra is one that a lot of people struggle with. They want to say quattro or something along those lines. Sometimes nona and deca they might not know, but y'all have drawn hexagons, octagons y'all know. Mono, di, and tri most people do not struggle with. So most of what's up there is not hard for most people to do. So don't whine about having to know those by Wednesday. All right, is everyone there now? Okay, so just to illustrate, since everybody's been able to write a name carbon dioxide for a while, let's talk about where carbon dioxide's name comes from, written in old system. So carbon is the name of the first element, right? Does it have a subscript on it right here? No. So that means right here, there is no prefix because there is only how many carbons? 1. Now, O is, so we write oxide. Here, we must use a prefix. Okay, so if we must use a prefix, what is on oxygen? So we write dioxide. Now, we don't drop the vowels. We keep both. The only time we drop vowels is like when you have 2 O's, like monoxide. We don't keep 2 O's side by side. Sounds a little bit like you're mooing or you've got a moo sound. So we do drop one of the O's at that point. But otherwise, we keep an A and an O or an I and an O side by side together. Okay? With me on that? Okay. Got it? Got a turn? So, what if I had N2O5 and I want to write its name? All right, how many nitrogens? So this time, when I write nitrogen for my first element, because I have 2 nitrogens, this time I have to do what at the front of the nitrogen? This time I have to put dinitrogen because there's more than 1 nitrogen. I have to add a prefix. Normally, I wouldn't add a prefix, but because there's 2 or more, I add a prefix. On the second element, I always add a prefix. So how many O's are there? So I write penta, and then I say oxide. Everybody with me? Yes? All right. So go back to the same 4 you just did a second ago and write their names in old system. See if it is time me out of grades. Please. You'll keep me on, aren't you? Stupid grade program. Launch. Yeah. Yeah, come make the other session. All right, we got them done? All right, hang on. I got 3 more things to put in. Let's see if it'll save this time. Yes. All right, so who didn't I call last time for SiO2? John, what did you put down for SiO2?
Silicone dioxide.
Very good. All right, any questions about silicon dioxide? Anybody not have that? All right, Cameron, what do you have for CBR4?
Carbon tetrabromo.
Very good. Anybody not have that? All right, Alexis, what about N2O5?
Dinitrogen pentoxide.
Good. And what about CO? Kylie, I haven't called on you, I don't think. I have.
Carbon dioxide.
Needs a prefix on the O.
Carbon dioxide.
You need a
Carbon monoxide.
carbon monoxide, or you could say monooxide. All right. Questions about that? Even if the O has only 1, you have to write the prefix. You cannot say carbon oxide. You have to say monooxide. Okay? Everybody understand that? With naming, it cannot be an understood. It has to have the mono. That would be stock. That would be old system. Now, if I don't tell you which way you have to name it on the quiz or test, you may choose either one. I will tell you on the test there are 2 questions out of, I think it's 22 naming questions. There are only 2 that I said one has to be named in stock and one has to be named in old. So 20 others, you can pick any way you want. But again, which one, and I know I told this to first period, out of the 22 questions on the test, what do you think the majority of the questions are? Ionic or covalent? Almost everything we will do is ionic. So if you are one of those people who's going to struggle to remember which way you can and can't name compounds, which one do you think is going to be more important to you? Stock or old system naming?
Stock.
Stock. So if you're one of those people who gets the systems mixed up, Which one should you completely forget about and not use?
Old system.
Old system. Because if that's the one you intermingle, you're going to botch your test grade badly. Because you can't use this. For example, let me show you this. If you have a question like this on the test, and you name this aluminum trichloride. Y'all have learned enough at this point to tell me what's wrong with that. Everybody tell me what's wrong with it. Because this wrong, you're getting complete, no points. If it's done on the quiz tomorrow, it's -10. If it's done on the test, it'll only be -2 because it's a 2-point question.
Try, all that kind of stuff on tomorrow's quiz.
Don't use prefixes tomorrow. I'll tell you that now. Use any prefixes tomorrow and it's wrong. Now, somebody tell me why that's wrong. Anybody do it? Nobody knows why. Let's see if I can put it on the right board and you can tell me why. All right, let me try it there. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Let me try this board.
It's supposed to be on.
All right. It was an ionic compound, which means I can only name it how. And stock system doesn't have any what in it. Prefixes. Okay? As soon as you know you have one of these, you can't use a what in it. A prefix. And aluminum is a what? It's a metal. Okay? So this is where people screw up. They see aluminum, it's a metal, and they don't stop to consider that's ionic, and they start slapping prefixes everywhere. Okay? So the biggest thing I would tell you is stick with the stock system. Because as soon as you start putting prefixes in places, you're going to lose a lot of your points. All right, we got to work backwards, and then we're done for the day. Suppose that you have carbon. Whoops. Write formulas, for those of you who like titles. Where'd my colors go? Come back up here. Come on. There it is. All right, so stock system equals oxidation numbers and crisscrossing. Old system equals prefixes and subscripts. Okay? So, if we're writing old system right now, which is what we're working on, if you see something like carbon, tetrachloride, this right here is a prefix, right? Now, that tells you we're not in stock system. Prefixes equal subscripts. Okay? The prefixes are the subscripts. It's that simple. In old system, prefixes are subscripts. So, when you look here at carbon, what prefix is right here? Is there a prefix there?
No.
That means that prefix tells you the subscript is a 1. Chloride has what prefix right here? So that tells you the prefix right here is a 4. So you have CCl4, except my 4 looks like a 9. Okay? We crisscross in stock system. Prefixes are the subscripts. Alexis has dropped dead. Dropped out. Boom. He's back up. Cameron's at least with me. He's hating it, but he's still with me. All right, so if I write diarsenic trioxide, what do I have? All right, AS 2
Oh,
3. Now, what do you suppose people do on the test or the quiz? They take AS and they go, oh, it's a 2. O is a 3. And then they try to crisscross that stuff. Okay? The thing you have to remember is there's no crisscrossing. Arsenic simply means that's a 2. That's a 3. It is that literal in old system.
So there's no crisscrossing with old system.
That's right. That's exactly right. Old system has no crisscrossing. The prefix is literally the subscript. Questions about old system? Think you could try a couple? Okay. And we'll talk homework. All right, go away, go away, go away. All right. All right, very quickly, write those formulas. And then we'll go over them, and I'll talk homework so you can get started on it. Test correction sheets. We done? Yes? All right, so what do you got for the first one? Tell me, Agilent. CI what? You know that is the most commonly missed. That is the most commonly made error on the prefixes. All right, and I have no idea why, but believe it or not, tetra and that is the most commonly made mistake. But it is a what? It's a 4. But I do not know why, but when I put tetra on a quiz or a test, it is not just you. It happens every year to multiple people. They tell me it's a 3. All right, what about phosphorus trichloride? Passion? Remember, I'm deaf. P what? Cl3. Was that what you said? Okay. All right, sulfur dioxide. Kayla, you with us now? Have you got caught back up a little bit? Yeah, the third one. Yep. All right, dinitrogen trioxide, Sheena. All right, and then I put in a stock system on to make sure you didn't forget how to do that. What'd you think, John? You gonna survive? Okay. You sound terrible. Almost. What you got, Isabel? You got PO5 too? All right, so I got PO5. I got P50. I'm missing something. Nobody has something different?
Oh, no.
There we go.
Oh.
Maybe I just didn't say it. When you've got this 5, you got to look up O also. O has a 2. Okay? So the 2 comes down and the 5 comes down. So you get P2O5. Okay? Did y'all just forget to say the 2 and you had it, or did you just really have PO5?
I was in the old system.
Okay. All right. All right. So let's talk homework. Now. I guess y'all can work on some of your packing. Yeah. Go third passion. I'll make me sleep. Y'all are the least interactive, but we might have all that. It would help if y'all would interact with me and not be so doggone flat.
I mean, I would, but I never had any questions.
Well, I'm glad y'all are brilliant.
No, you're
Rather figure things out.
Yeah, you are.
Really stuck around.
Right. All right, so we're going to do 1 through 15, and we're going to skip number 13. All right, we're doing 1 through 15, but we're skipping 13. 13 is like some wild exception, so scratch it out. Now, I want 2 things. If you only do 1 and I check homework tomorrow, you get the 50. So I don't want you to be pissed if I check homework and you get the 50. I want you to name it 2 ways. I want the stock system and old system. So if you only name it with the stock system, you're going to be mad when I'm looking for 2 different names. So I want stock system and old system. So if you're going to forget, draw a line down the middle so you know you got to do it 2 ways. And why are y'all packing up with 5 minutes to go? Oh, well, you can't get anything done in 5 minutes? No, somebody. And today is the last day to do test corrections. So if you want to do some, you still have plenty of time. Even Sheena over there is like, I ain't got time. Yes, you do.
I do.
Okay, then grab more correction sheets.
How would I do this? Leonardo.
Here, if you want, go ahead and get started. And I wouldn't worry about it if I got to go watch the soccer game tonight. Y'all do this stuff. And the fam probably wants to eat tonight before I bail to go to the soccer game.